Yes.
course.
No, but you should be super used to listening to yourself, because I mean, you've been presenting your work.
Yeah, you're right.
I met you. By the way, I need to make a clarification. Probably the wrong choice of the color of my shirt against the white background is due to the fact that we organized this podcast literally 4.5 hours ago. I met Andrea yesterday at a very small talk in a pop-up at Wellington Street. I was moderating a talk between Barbara Villari and Juliette Guo, and talking, we exchanged contacts. And this morning I told him, if you're happy to come to the podcast, I'd be super happy. And he was down, and we organized it right away. So thank you, Andrea, for making it.
No, thank you for inviting me.
It was not the first time I had met you, because I had gone to, I don't know if it was 1 year ago or 2 years ago, to a sort of like a set of conferences, presentations organized by I think it was the Italian Chamber of Commerce here, in which I discovered you and the way you do art that is extremely unique from my perspective. There is no one that I know that does what you do. But we'll get to that later, because before speaking about what you dedicate most of your time to, I think it's very interesting to actually learn your journey to it, because I'm sure that maybe 15 years ago, no one was going to think that you would define yourself or be known as an artist.
For sure. I mean, I thought that, but other people, for sure not.
So you had it in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I was always interested, to be honest, in art, and wanted to do something about that. But it's all about to what extent you can do it publicly.
So at 15, by the way, when someone is famous, when you ask ChatGPT, make me a small biography of a person, and it's extremely thorough, I have to say. So you are 2 years younger than me. You're from 89,
yes.
from Tuscany in
yes.
Italy. When you were young, I used to paint graffiti and tags on the walls. What were you doing that made you think I want to be an artist?
No, but I mean, you, let's say, are inclined to that pretty much like you're inclined to curiosity, I would say. But, in terms of having like a career as an artist, I don't know. Like, I never fully visualized that. How could it happen? Just because the interests that I had were very anachronistic, meaning that I liked a lot poetry from the 19th century, philosophy, like songwriters. So something that I realized that was not really very contemporary. So I was always in that situation where I really love art, but whenever even I try to do something myself, it's something that actually sits in the past and is not projected into the future, which I think, art should be. Art should, the one that is actually relevant, to be publicly talked about today, should say something about the future. So I went through, different phases, really. The first phase, I would say, was a very introspective phase, where I experimented many things, from, writing to music, and no one really cared, I have to say. I used to live in London 10 years. I even had a busking license in London to go play around the city, mostly in Camden Town.
You need to have a license to play on the street?
Yeah.
Crazy.
In the underground, actually, I was rejected to get the license in the underground. So I managed to get the one in Camden Town, which was a bit easier to get. And I used to go there. And as well, in local clubs. It was a very formative, I would say, experience, because that's when you really feel that, you can be yourself. You don't know anyone. So whatever, you don't feel that much judged. But that, let's say, was a period that was, as I said, more about trying to understand a bit better, what I really wanted to do, try to, also destroy the ideal that the art world was perfect. Okay. And then, given that I was in the blockchain space already back then, but as an investor, so nothing related to art, when art came into that space in the form of digital art, I was like, okay, man, like the planets are aligned. I need to do something, and then I did it.
Okay, but before I get to that, I want to slow down the pace a little bit and go back to one very one curiosity that I had while reading your biography. Your choice of economics as a field of study was a show of eclecticism or a way for you to hedge your bets and say, okay, I know I have this vocation, maybe I should listen to my parents and actually do something serious?
Not really. To be honest, I enjoyed economics. Also, my mother, she's an artist herself, so I didn't really have any, let's say, pressure to say, do this or do that. I was, quite free. But I just, felt that economics was something that at the time, interested me. And as I mentioned before, like I never felt that like art needed a formal career, where you need to. Actually, probably that's the exact opposite of what a creative artistic career should be, right? I don't want to be in a certain box confined. That's something that I really dislike. So to put me in that framework myself, I would have hated art in any shape or form. So I went through that trajectory. I would say that many of the things that I learned, through my studying economics and finance has been, very useful in general, in all that I'm doing.
I tend to agree with you. You need to have a little bit of a. I think art is a little bit like journalism. I don't think there is a big need for professional journalists or professional. It's something that you need to carry on with you, and then at a certain point, you make a choice. So anyway, so you study economics, then you do a master's also in economics.
Master in finance in London.
Master in finance in London, and then you are in London. So, how is the moment in which you are getting out of the office or getting out of, let's say, your finance part of the day, and is there a switch in personality when you actually pick up your instrument and go to play on the street?
I think that I was always lucky enough to be very free, meaning that post-university, pretty much like any activity I did was like an entrepreneurial activity. So I was, the master of my own fate, basically. So when I ventured into the blockchain space in 2017, 18, full-time, I launched an investment fund called Eternal Capital with other 3 guys that used to work at BlackRock back then. And one of them was studying with me at Imperial College. So, we knew each other and was all very organic. So even with the fund, I did something that I liked. I was interested into that, right? But then I was also interested a lot into art. I felt that, that was my true way, of expressing myself. And I think nowadays we are in a situation where the boundaries are blurring. You don't have black or white. As you see, in my art practice, I use a lot of technology, blockchain, AI. So those are the kind of things that you don't learn in an art school. You learn them if you have a bit of a peculiar background, as I have, and I've seen, AI, blockchain from many angles. But then, the way my mind works is that I see, many other possibilities of leveraging such technologies. And so I think everything was quite natural, really. I enjoyed, my activity, through the fund. I mean, I'm still part of Eternal Capital. I'm no longer doing anything like operational, like on a day-to-day basis, because, as you said, my focus now is on my art studio. But I'm also exploring, other entrepreneurial opportunities, basically, as we speak, pretty much. So it's all very organic, but everything, let's say, is one theme, which is me completely submitting to my own curiosity and being entirely free of do whatever I want, not accepting any labels.
Bravo, I envy you. I would like to be like this. Maybe took some wrong decisions in life, complicated my life a couple of times. In 2021, everyone kind of became an expert in the world of digital art. People were talking about NFTs as if it was, let's say, common currency. you mentioned that, but let's say your chronology dates back a few years, like 2017, 2018. How can you explain to people the inception of this digital art? Because then, of course, it became ubiquitous. Then there was the boom, and actually, I want to ask you because it's like when Bitcoin crashes that newspapers stop talking about Bitcoin. Now the mainstream media stop talking about NFTs, and I would love to learn from you where we are in this moment.
I mean, so on your first question, 2017, I would say that I didn't start investing, in NFTs or creating NFTs back then. There, it was more about the blockchain, new projects building on Ethereum, and really analyzing, the tech and trying to understand really how the tech works. Then, I started being more interested in NFTs towards like 2020, I would say. Initially collecting a few of them. And then as a creator, I did this, my first project was this collaboration with actually a Hong Kong-based humanoid robot, Sophia, which was very successful. And, from there, I basically carried on doing things. And what was your second question?
No, let's say, what happened to NFTs?
What happened to NFTs? I mean, as often happens in the field of crypto, people get overexcited with things and then underexcited very quickly, right? So if you think about NFTs, let's say the trajectory was wrong from inception because what was hyped was the medium, right? It's like suddenly people, they are all excited about paper, because you're painting on paper, like whatever is the medium, we don't care, right? What is important is the substance on top of that medium, right? So there was a phase where NFTs were really all over the place, a very crazy period, I have to say. Even for me, it was very difficult to deal with that phase because, take, my situation. I was running an investment fund. I did this collaboration with Sophia back in 2021, which was like an extreme success. Like we really, between primary, secondary sales, we grossed more than $3 million. And suddenly we got a massive media attention because Reuters live streamed the auction and then covered the whole thing. And I wasn't prepared at all. I had no structure behind me. So I started getting bombarded, with requests for interviews, collaborations and stuff. I was like, man, I'm overwhelmed. I remember we received an email from the New York Times that was lost basically. And then I read an article on the New York Times saying, by the way, the artist Andrea Bonaceto hasn't responded, to the request for the interview. I was like, what? When did they send me? And, I basically missed that. And with that, many other things. So it was really a crazy period that I didn't expect. And I think even on a psychological level, it wasn't that easy because suddenly, from nothing, from no one really knowing what you're doing to unhealthy way, I would say, of attention. And it took some time for me to, understand with who should I work, with who I shouldn't work, and go into a more sustainable art trajectory.
What were let's say the bad parts of that, let's say?
Which was really hype driven, and people, everyone, was really after you because, the thing was cool and everyone was making a lot of money, but no one really cared about, very few people cared about the substance underneath, as I mentioned. So it was a very hype driven phase. And I think now we are past that, fortunately. I think it's good.
Yes. Has let's say, and I'm asking you, I should have looked it up myself. I didn't have time. Things like, for example, the cyberpunk,
CryptoPunks.
The CryptoPunks. Sorry, are they still around? Let's say, are they still worth something?
I don't think that's hype. Stuff like CryptoPunks are historical artifacts. Like they are in museums, and I think they are an example of substance on top, of an NFT, meaning that they are really the early experiments of the use of this medium, and they're really intrinsic in the crypto blockchain community. So yeah, I feel it's good. Yeah, definitely. They're worth a good amount of money, and I think they will be worth even more in the future.
All right.
No financial advice, but
no.
my 2 cents.
No, but it's good. I think the fact that they haven't disappeared is the same as crypto, The fact that crypto has already undergone at least 3 big deep dives in their value, but haven't disappeared. In my opinion, it's a proof that there is an underlying value for society. I don't know if it's intrinsic or if it's something that we give it to, but certainly, let's say if they survive, they are of some economical importance or some cultural. You spoke about your collaboration with the Sophia's, the Hong Kong robot Sophia. Can you, for people that might be new to your work, can you explain a little bit how that came to be and what's about?
That was 2020 still, and really was very organic. The story behind that is I started opening an Instagram account and sharing, what I was doing. That were mostly like portraits, like of my friends, friends and family, and I got, quite a few people that liked it. Mm-hmm. And one of them was a friend of mine, Marcello Mari, that wrote me on Instagram, and he wrote me, really, like, I thought, you were just doing finance, you're doing also art, nice, cool, when do you do a portrait of myself? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can, sure, we can do it. And then, given that at the time he was working with the team, behind Sophia, I had the idea of saying, but wait a second, I can do you the portrait, but why don't we actually do a bigger project where we involve Sophia and we do a portrait also of Sophia, and we collaborate artistically, meaning that she reinterprets with the AI my works, and then, we start asking new questions. Basically, is this art? Is it not art? Mm-hmm. Can a humanoid robot create art? That was the idea, really, to show the process and then leave it there for people to judge. And then I spoke, with David Hanson, who is the creator of Sophia. He liked the project, and we did it, and it went very well.
So, who is the creator of the art, if you involve Sophia?
My idea right now is that AI is a tool for the human creativity. This is also very evident in my, latest project that we'll talk, more about it, I'm sure. The AI does not have that metaphysical element that actually is the seed of art, which is the fact that we are born, we die, we feel that we want to do something, and then, we decide based on that our life trajectory. An AI does not have that. So that's why I see it more as a tool for enhancing human creativity, and hopefully also to enhance the connection between humans and even the learning of who you are. So given that, it's evolving so fast now, right? 2021 was still, let's say, a prehistoric phase. ChatGPT, this kind of stuff were not really, that popular yet. So we really, at that time, we worked with Sophia's, AI neural networks, and then later on I built, my own AI models. And but yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was like, as I said, like a prehistoric phase for AI. It feels like right now.
Some people say that we are still in a prehistoric phase, that we cannot even fathom what there is around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, right? The time frame you look at. I would say, looking at today as the present, it looks like that was a prehistoric phase. Then for sure,
if you year was like prehistoric.
Yeah, if you go like 5 years from now, I'm sure that even what's possible today will look like prehistoric.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you perceive that there is more excitement or fear when it comes to AI at this moment? Let me premise that I'm very optimistic about AI. Let's say I see that it is also a tool. So I'm not one of the haters, but let's say I like to exchange perceptions of how really people look at these things. Another one big topic regarding to art, and I wanted to bring it up with you, is the authorship of let's say an artwork or whatever research piece if AI is involved. There are accusations of plagiarism and so on. What do you think the public perception is about that?
I mean, I think on the point about authorship, I have a very clear opinion. Art, if you see, has evolved, really towards the concept, right? Conceptual art more and more, right? We went from like doing hyper-realistic portraits of people to abstract art, and then to just say, look, the idea is what matters. In fact, you have many artists that they commission their works, right? They have the idea, and then someone else is producing them. They still are the artists, in my opinion. The same applies with AI. I think humans are still the artists. Then it depends, how you use it. Like sometimes there are like programs that they self-execute, like in the field of generative art, where then the AI creates many different outputs that are even hard to predict. Maybe there the line is a bit more blurred, but I still feel that the artist is the person that programmed it, the creator, right?
Yeah.
The same way as, if you are religious or not, but we have been created, by someone. And yes, we have freedom to do stuff, but the artist of the universe is whoever, created all this. That then has a certain level of autonomy, of course, in, taking decisions, but it doesn't mean that they are the creators themselves. So AI, in a nutshell, in my opinion, is a tool, a very good tool that has many positive benefits. Of course, it needs to be used the right way. And I think our responsibility of people, in this field, using AI and publicly talking about that, is to steer society towards virtuous way of using AI rather than ways that are detrimental.
Yeah, 100%. Some people accuse AI models to let's say about the fact that they feed on other artists' works. But what I reply to that accusation is every artist does the same. Exactly. It's just a matter of, let's say, the volume of the capacity for computation. If you actually see some of the greatest painters, they were doing very similar things to their masters when they were starting, and then they evolved from that. It's impossible to think that I don't know, Dalí didn't pay attention to Michelangelo. So we can just do it at a much bigger scale with AI.
Exactly. I mean, when you go to a museum, you see many different paintings, then you are inspired by those paintings and you create something which is completely new, but has that imprinting, right? The AI is mimicking that approach. As you actually mentioned yesterday, during your panel, it was mentioned, you said everything in the end is a remix.
Yes.
Which is by some extent, right? Nothing is really created from scratch. Is always our interpretation. We are individuals. We process everything through our brain, and then we generate an output in the end. So the AI is just mimicking that brain and is feeding information. I don't see any, to be honest, concern with that. I understand why there are concerns. Some people are asking for many things. Probably, there should be probably a field where a lot has to be done is in the regulation field. Given that it's such a new field, new regulation will emerge, because reality is that it's really difficult, given the scale of the data AI is using, to actually monitor what is using and to reward people for the usage of their data, for every single thing. Think about the largest, AI models right now. They were probably trained on the whole internet, really.
Yeah, sure.
So what do you want to do?
It's the biggest example of communism, intellectual communism, if you think about it. So everything should, if we just open a pie and divide it in equal parts, everyone would get €1. So why try to...
Exactly, and see it also from this perspective. We are all benefiting from that.
Yeah.
Right? So you have now tools that you can use that are extremely intelligent, that can really support you. If you go on, trying a ChatGPT, the latest models, or even Sora that I've used, very extensively, you really understand that it's really crazy what you can do right now. You should not, in my opinion, have a passive approach of saying, but if you apply the old rules, this is weird and I don't like it, blah, blah, blah. What you should instead do is to say, look, this is a new world. It's a completely new game. It's going to change everything. I need to really understand it. I need to be humble. I need to study it. I need to master those tools. And then let's see what emerges. It's a very exciting period to be alive.
Yes, and I think it's my theory is that it's bringing back it will bring back a human-centric approach. Because at the end of the day, another of the words that I used yesterday is the commoditization. Yesterday was about design. Today is about anything that can be created by an AI model. If, for example, painting a hyper-realist portrait of a super complex landscape becomes something easy, maybe watching someone do it, someone real do it, that is not a machine, maybe that becomes special. Some of the things that are mind-blowing are the songs, the versions in different genres. Like, for example, taking a 50 Cent song or an Eminem song and repurpose it in a 1950s blues type of a style. And it's great. It's a super high-quality music. But no one's going to be able to play that. I mean, playing that in a concert is valuable, not listening on Spotify. You know what I mean? So nowadays, videos can be faked, can be deep faked. So there will not be big deals closed on Zoom calls anymore. People will have to take a flight, go shake hands. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, the human, this is why I'm optimistic about this new evolution, because the people become important again.
100%.
So I don't know. This is my. I'm a romantic, and I tend to believe that you need to take leap of faith, because we just need to be able to adapt a little bit.
But I completely agree with you, and I would add something more. Human beings are not that good at providing answers. Okay, there is this very famous Italian poet that I love. His name is Eugenio Montale. He won the Nobel Prize as well in literature. That in one of his poems he's saying, today we can only tell you this, what we are not and what we don't want. Okay, so like the process of human beings is really to try out things and then remove what they don't want to do, and then through time try to more or less go in a direction that is a bit more inclined with their true nature, if they do a path which is an introspective path. But instead AI is more like a laser beam, like bang, boom, you want that, you want to do that, I know everything and I provide you the answer. So the focus instead is towards asking the right questions. That's a very profound cultural switch, meaning that think deeply about the questions. Think deeply also about the questions, within yourself. Who are you? Like, what do you want to do? Think deeper about that. Don't worry about, building like complex Excel models, PowerPoint presentations and stuff. The AI will help you to do that, but frame the prompt in a way that is unique and ask the right questions. That's a big change, and I think really is a strong paradigm shift. Even the whole educational system needs to really adapt, because the new generations are basically still formed on the old paradigm of providing answers, learning by heart certain things. Instead, the approach should be work closely with those tools from the very beginning, learn to think and ask the right questions. That's deeply human. Whereas, I don't know, at least when I went to school, First World War, Second World War, blah, 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 the learn by heart, this and that. Many things I don't remember them, but even at the university, many of the stuff that I studied, I really don't remember them. But now that I have everything, at reach through AI, well, it's different. And the internet, of course, already made that, much easier. But I think, with AI, we went, one step further.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny that you refer to history. I think back in 2015, I had a revolutionary idea, because I love to read about history, but I have a big problem, because when I'm reading about, let's say, one part of the world, it is difficult to me to put in context of what happened at that moment in somewhere else. For example, it is hard for me to understand what was happening when the when Columbus discovered America. If you ask me what was happening in China at that moment, I was blocked because I was learning to I was used to learning the chronology as a storyline, but I couldn't let's say put them in a contemporary context. So I said, I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna make an app in which you can select a year and tap on every different territory, and then you will see exactly how the world evolves. You can do it like this now.
Yeah. But it's
amazing.
The thing is also that the critical thinking element resulting from that, which is deeply human, is I think the most important skill set that someone should have is thinking critically about the information that is provided to them. Now it's even easier, right? Because you're very right that at school they're teaching you things in a certain way from if you studied in Europe, like from a Western kind of approach. Yes. But now you have the possibility to have a very simple summarization of many of the things that you want to learn. So it really unlocks so much in terms of what you can learn, what you can do. There isn't really any excuse anymore in terms of things that you can learn. And I think this is very liberating. I love it. It, as you said, it's deeply enhancing our humanity, I feel.
Do you think that all of the teachers and professors that are working now for the establishment will survive this change? Because
I think they will need to adapt, but I think they will survive. Like people, in the end, they still like to be, close to another human being. But those human beings, will use AI. Some works will disappear, of course. Other will be created. So I'm not really in that, doom kind of scenario. Also, hopefully, resources become more abundant if, AI is used the right way. One trend that is very exciting to me is the intersection between the development in AI and robotics. So I think, we are in a phase where the software is really advanced and the hardware now will be advancing as well so quickly that the two will arrive at a point where they can really be very useful, on many, on many elements of our day-to-day life. So it's an exciting period.
I mean, you mentioned before you are still involved with the let's say remember the name of your investment company?
Eterna Capital.
Eterna Capital. What are some things that the public doesn't see that you are already seeing in advancements of the technology? I'm super tired today. This is the panel of yesterday. Sorry.
I mean, as I said, I'm no longer really in the day-to-day, so it's not that I go and look at all the deals as I was doing before. But nevertheless, I'm still like personally interested on technology. As I said, I'm also exploring other entrepreneurial initiatives I cannot really talk about right now. But the trends that I see that are very interesting are within the blockchain space. I would say mainstream adoption from governments, large institutions, that they really started thinking that this is real. And very happy to see that because, when I entered the blockchain space full time in 2017-18, that was our thesis, our assumption, and now it's finally happening. Then another element which is very interesting is that blockchain, AI are technologies that really work well hand in hand, because in the end, AI is about data, blockchain is about also storing, this data. And so I see a lot of potential.
Do you think that every major player in the world, major player defined by America, Europe, China, is taking advantage in the same way of the potential of AI?
I think everyone is working on it, of course, with different degrees of success. But I think you definitely cannot ignore it.
No, the follow up to that question is I mean, or the rationale behind the question is that I see that the US, of course, is pushing the boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
China silently is doing their own thing. You know, everyone now no one speaks about it, but there was a big drop in market capitalization of American companies when DeepSeek was launched.
Yeah.
So it means that probably now they keep on working a little bit more silently. Europe is a little bit more is frozen. Is it only on appearance or?
No, I think that's an accurate representation. Europe is slow, is all, really about regulating and not really pushing, providing capital and innovating. So that's a bit sad to see, and I'm hoping, that changes. The US is definitely leading, and what we are seeing, I feel, is two kind of models, right? Private models, like run by private companies, and then more like public models. I think they will coexist, and based on what you want to do, you might choose one or the other. Yeah, and one element also that for me is very interesting is the advancement in image generation and video creation, from an AI standpoint. It's really crazy what you can do now. I think this will revolutionize completely the industry, of movie making, the Hollywood, kind of model. Really now you can create, probably a movie already, 10x more, less the cost, basically.
Yes.
With a 10x cheaper, even more than what you could before. So yeah, I mean, it's that's why I'm saying that it's very exciting. Like, there are so many possibilities. Even, as a solo founder, you can do so much if you use the tools. Look at the examples, of Lovables and this kind of companies that they really scale so quickly. So you can do a lot with a small team. You can scale extremely quickly. Really, like, in history is the best time to really be creative and work as an entrepreneur, but even as an artist, because you can do the same things. The approach also that you have, personally I have as an artist, is very entrepreneurial, meaning that the projects that I do, they involve, many stakeholders, and to deliver the vision that I have at a certain scale, I need to, orchestrate a lot of things, right? It's not just, me in a room, like doing a painting, and then I'm then out completely and someone else says the painting on my behalf. Is a very involved, approach on all fronts.
Can you develop a little bit more on that? I go crazy for the processes. So one of the things that I ask designers or artists when they come here is to explain if they want one of their works or one of their projects from inception to finish. You mentioned that your projects involve a lot of people, a lot of stakeholders. Can you explain to us an example of what you mean?
I mean, I can give you as an example my latest project, Untitled, that was unveiled actually here in Hong Kong, and there is also an immersive experience.
It's the one that we're going to check out later.
Yes, exactly. Right. So there is an immersive experience, and then is also on all the major, billboards here around Hong Kong. And that was a very long, making of this project. Like, there was a first phase that was really a conceptual phase. As I said, I'm very into, philosophy and art, poetry. So I really read a lot, and I started to really sediment what is really important for me from a creative standpoint to say. And I would like also to elaborate on that, because I think it's very important. So in all these podcasts, right, I told you, I was in London, basking, doing the fund, etc. So the first phase for me as an artist was a deeply subjective phase, deeply introspective phase. Was me alone with myself, trying to understand who I am, okay? And there were, up and downs, trial and errors. There were phases where I thought, okay, I won't be able to do anything really of a certain level in the art world. But then, the conditions were right. I was very open to show the world, who I was without any mask. And that was the phase when I moved from being fully introspective to opening up to the other people, right? That, I have to say, was also by some extent a bit tragic, because you understand that, the idealization that you have in your mind of, the art world, like they're nice people, they will love me because finally this is who I am and everyone will understand it. No, I mean, it has very similar dynamics to the finance world, but there is that layer of the art and the conversations and stuff, So you need to be careful even there, right? But it's important, regardless, to go through that process and to feel it, okay? So when you're then, in that situation that you are open, you anyway, even if it was a bit traumatic, you took off the mask and you are saying what it is that you want to say. If you're meeting people that instead they have that mask, it's a bit difficult to engage at that point, right? Because I went through the process of, the finance, blah, 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 the art. And now, it's me. This is me, very unfiltered. I don't have to say anything in a way or another. It's really me, unfiltered content. You really want people to have that vibration as well, because I think that's when they can really do their best work. That's why when they can really realize, who they are and why they are in this world. We are here for few decades, and then we're gone. So why do you need to pretend that, I don't know, you want to do something or you have a certain role? Try to deeply understand, who you are. But how do you do it? It's difficult, right? So for me, at a certain point, there was really the need to engage with people on that level. And that's where I moved from, let's say, my own subjectivity to other people. Then I thought, if you take it like a mathematical equation, okay, given that the goal is always for me to arrive into something impossible, which is an absolute truth, the objective truth, call it as you want. The ultimate goal that is unachievable because I'm a subject, I'm an individual, I'm trapped in this body, right? Everything I perceive it through this body. So, I might say this mic is black. You might say, yeah, it's black, but maybe you see it white.
I had that trip many times.
Yeah,
yes.
So you are trapped in your own subjectivity, right? So what can we do to at least move towards an ideal of objectivity? And my conclusion was to say, you bring together as many people as you can with that mindset of really trying to understand who they are. And then you use AI as a tool, again, not as a creative partner, as a tool, pretty much as it was glue, right? So you take all this information of whatever people are saying, when you pose them some very deep questions, you put them in front of, what they've done, what they've not done. And then you take all that input, all those truths, and then you try to create a sort of story of who human beings truly are. And then you create a community of these people that they can connect and they can do stuff together. So with Untitled, that's what we're doing. It's a big project, right? As I said, there was a long period of reading and try to understand. And there was a long period of writing as well. We will most likely publish a book as well at some point where all the theory that I'm explaining to you now is even, explained in deeper details. And there are also these two phases, right? The first phase is the collecting of the information, of the inputs in this immersive experience. So we crafted a fully AI-powered immersive experience, actually powered by OpenAI and Sora, customized though with my own art. So then they basically speak my own language, my own artistic language. And you will see, we'll go there after, you'll enter into that experience. And it's funny that, to some people, I didn't brief them. So they thought, I'm going to enter the experience and, going to see some nice videos and then I'm going to leave. No, actually, you go in and it's interactive. You're going to be mic'd up. You're going to be recorded. And you will go through a sort of psychoanalytic session where you will be asked certain questions, very profound, that maybe, also according to the phase of your life you are, some people feel uncomfortable. Like a lady left in the middle of the experience, and she told me, I don't like these kind of questions. Boom, and left.
Okay.
Another lady, she left in the end, like with eyes, like wet eyes, saying, "Oh, I didn't expect that, or you didn't tell me." It's like, yeah, good. Like, this is what I'm looking for, and I'm yet to listen to all the recordings. I'm really interested. But so you go through that, okay, and then all the stuff that people are saying, then they become the input that we use to create the artworks. The artworks here are a new kind of artworks. They're very like cinematic artworks. And they also have a written component and music as well underneath. So they really bring together all my passions, which is really poetry, philosophy, music, visual art. And this is a project that will keep going forever, even after I'm dead, you know. It's something where we are going all over the world in many cities globally. We're going to have these immersive experiences. People are going to join. They're going to share, you know, whatever they feel they want to share. And then in each city, you will have a sort of the visual representation, the storytelling, the movie almost of that city, of that culture, right? And then we can have a global one as well by bringing them, you know, all together. And yeah, I mean, that was just to tell you, know, the creative process of something like Untitled. As you can imagine, you know, I have a team of people that works with me on, you know, creating the content, of course. Then we work very closely with the Hong Kong Design Center that have been like amazing partners. The Italian consulate as well has been very helpful. You know, press, screen providers is going to be on all the major screens here in Hong Kong. Legals as well, because of course, you know, people need to sign terms and conditions and stuff. So you see that is really, you know, ticking all the boxes as starting like a company almost, which, you know, in the art world, many people, they feel like is a blasphemy to say something like that, but it's not. It's true. Meaning that if you really want to deliver projects that have an impact, you need to deliver them in a very holistic way.
Yes, there is no shame in making money. Especially because nowadays I don't think there is any artist that really is aiming to be poor. I think you can fix it like with this. I see that it's bugging you a little bit. But it's probably.
Perfect. Now it's more stable.
Yes. Fortunately, we clean this a few times per week, and people change a little bit the settings. No, it's a very Hegelian way of looking at the world. At the end of the day, that objective is just putting together a lot of data together and try to like pixelate the reality, and that should give you is this theory that instead of just interpreting history, you need to tell as many details as possible, and then you will get a nice portrait, which was in a romantic from a romantic point of view what the internet was supposed to be at the beginning. Then of course we had biased algorithms that keep people longer in front of the screen, but what you're doing is somehow that representation.
But it's funny you mentioned Hegel, because Hegel was one of my readings when actually going through creating Untitled. You know, that concept of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis is something that I really went through myself, right? I had an idea, I destroyed that idea. Like I thought, I built like an amazing building. I don't want to start over. You will have to start over, okay? But then I started over in a way that was really every brick that I put to create that house was very authentic. And that's the most important thing for me.
All right. You mentioned Hong Kong Design Center as a great partner. We live in a world in which governments and, let's say, public institutions are a little bit scared about giving the public the freedom to express themselves and, let's say, somehow display that. Were they not concerned at all with this?
I mean, of course, we had to go through the process of sharing what we wanted to do and to be approved. But to be honest, I mean, they've been very open. Like they did not have any issue with the content we wanted to provide. In the end, you know, we were asking questions. And then, you know, it's on people what they want to share, what they don't want to share. They're not obliged to, you know, forced to enter that experience. So far so good.
That's fantastic, fantastic. So this is the first time you are displaying this project?
Yeah.
First time in Hong Kong? Wow.
Yeah.
How long is it gonna be here?
Actually, I mean, it was supposed to be here, the immersive experience, just for 3 days, but they already expressed interest to keep it the full year. So we are currently, discussing that. Also, it's something that is very strange because you need to go in one by one. Mm-hmm. It lasts around 10 minutes. So it's also something where it's really about the quality, it's not really to crowd, the thing with many people, right? So you ideally want a situation where people book, they join, they do it. And I think, it has received very good response from the audience that already experienced it. So they are asking me, if we can keep it really long term.
No, it's fantastic. I'm very curious. You make my day because literally I was planning on having a very slow day because now I will start working again January 1st, which is very nice. And then when you sent me the message, I was like, let's go. And then I got activated. Someone as active and as curious as you, I'm sure that you're already thinking about step 2, step 3 of a project like this. Can you unveil something? Give us some sneak peek into what you guys are planning for the future?
Step 2 and step 3 is really to go global, completely global, and scale it everywhere. That's pretty much, what we are doing is to be focused and to have a very profound concept behind. As you see, it's not just, as I mentioned, like painting a work. There is a lot, underneath. So we'll just keep doing it more and more with more institutions, more locations. And we're really looking forward to that. I think I'm surrounded by a great team of people. I'm very grateful for that. And on top of being very talented, they are also very good people, which for me is something I have to say very important. Because in the end, your life is defined by the quality of the people around you during the 24 hours.
Yeah. Believe me, if there is someone that understands that, is me. Is me. I relate to many things that you said during the past 50 something minutes. Being actually this podcast was in a way obliged me to take off the mask as well, because I cannot choose to be a fake person depending on who's sitting in front of me, because I have a few thousands watching the episode over every time, no? So you need to be extremely authentic, and with that comes the fear of, what are people going to think of me? And with overcoming that fear comes the liberation of saying, fuck it, I can do whatever I want in my space.
What do you have to lose anyway, in the sense that, the framework that I have, throughout all my life is, and for me was not really a choice. I really felt it so much that I couldn't really stop it, is to realize that you cannot live life thinking that death will never happen. That's a very myopic way of seeing things. You are then stuck into stuff that you hate.
Yes.
Just because you feel like, whatever, I'll do it next year, and then, you realize that it's too late.
Yeah.
You do it now, it will be painful, of course. It's not that things are going to be easy, nothing is easy. Even delivering a project like Untitled is not at all easy.
Yeah.
But in the end, do something that you feel is really in tune with your nature, which, by the way, I'm not at all advocating that everyone should do like crazy stuff and conquer the world. Actually, it's the opposite. I live now in a very small town in Italy, which is where I was raised. So, take my trajectory. I was raised in this small town called Viareggio in Tuscany. Then I went to London 10 years. Then when I said, okay, I really want to even more be myself and do the things that I love, I went back there. Mm-hmm. And I've seen that people that have, like a simpler life and, they're not even bothered, with AI and stuff, they're very authentic. And they're very, they have many things that you don't have in like those big cities where everyone is busy, everyone is doing stuff and pretends, to work on extremely important things. I don't know if they're that important, really.
No. Probably they don't do heart surgery. It's true. For me, being away from my hometown since I was 18 made me keep the old friendships that I had then, which probably if I had stayed, I would have evolved and I would have, let's say, drifted away from my authenticity. And it is what keeps me grounded. At the end of the day, it's people that they don't care about your bullshit. If they joke with you, they put the finger in the wound, and
exactly. The ultimate test is
the
that.
Ultimate test, yes.
Because, if I have to be really completely honest with you, initially when I was, at high school there in Italy, I felt a bit that it was difficult for me to fully express myself. Maybe because I was even, not that secure about, what I wanted to put out. Very fragile also. So when I then went to London and no one knew me, there I really felt free to try out things. And whatever happens, no one knows me. Then when the stuff, became public, I then felt comfortable even to go back to my hometown and, people know what I do. It's not that they care, to be honest. When I'm there, I'm just a normal person. I have a very normal life. But I really enjoy that dichotomy of when you're there, you have the simplest possible life with the truest people.
Yes.
And then when you have to do stuff, like I need to, present Untitled globally and stuff, I go and I do it. I meet new people. I enjoy that, that process. But I don't enjoy it to be every day of the year, I need to have that situation where I recharge, then I go back to recharge. Whereas when I was living in London, it was a bit an hybrid of both permanently. And at a certain point, it didn't really work for me that well.
I think it's a normal evolution. I'm still living in the matrix, like here in a city that is probably an exaggeration of the intensity of a metropolis. But I feel like I need to. We're finding, let's say, midway solutions. I'm not going to. My mom lives in northern Spain in a house in a town with another 7 people. Maybe I'm not ready for that yet, or I cannot convince my wife to do that yet. But moving away from the center of Hong Kong, potentially in a few years, being able to turn off the connection.
But also, it's subjective. It's not that I'm saying that everyone should follow that path. For me, I would say it worked well because in the end, as I mentioned, I think that with AI and even the whole blockchain community is very global and decentralized. So you can really be wherever you want to be. And I realized, that I was spending time with people that, let's say, were work colleagues, and I wasn't spending time with people that were very close to me. Then in 2021, I had my mother also that didn't feel, very well. So during COVID, I also felt, okay, shit, these things, won't come back, right? 100%. So you want to properly embrace them, really live in the present finally. Let's say not constantly in the projection, of a future that doesn't yet exist. So right now I'm in a very balanced, let's say, phase of my life. I had a daughter like 4 months ago, almost.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
So, thank you.
First one?
So, yes.
You look very fresh to have a 4-month-old. Bravo.
She's very good. She sleeps. And now I'm also away since 2 weeks. So
that's why you look so fresh, yes. I had a colleague who said, Fernando, when you become a father, you will start making your business trips longer, which is not true. But I get what he meant by the joke. Bravo, this is the real important things in life are those ones.
Yes.
It's not even comparable. I was going to say giving birth and dying is the most important, but no. But dying, no, because dying is a consequence. It's a passing. I like the verb passing. But bringing life is the most important thing. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm always very happy, even with people that I met a day ago when they tell me they have kids. I'm super, super happy. I'm also very thankful that we were able to set this up, because this conversation was super interesting for me. And the only reason why I don't go longer in this episode is because I really want to go to the immersive experience. Untitled. I guess we will find why Untitled is the title of the work. Andrea, super pleasure. I'm gonna give you the closing remarks of the show, because you are the protagonist of this episode. So this is your camera.
Which one?
That's your camera.
That one.
Yes. Tell the people what you want them to hear, or send them off if we are fine.
I mean, I think we had a very chilled conversation. I'm glad we managed to connect. I think you have a great setup and you're doing a good work with this podcast. So congratulations, and let's go see the experience.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Be happy, enjoy, make the best of your time, and if you're in Hong Kong, try to make it. Okay? Ciao, ciao. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
All right. Grazie.
Good. I think it was great.
No.